Go.
Hi everyone, welcome to Shelf Control. I'm Norm.
I'm Lisa.
And today we're doing another random review.
Battle for Rokugan.
This was the one that came up from the random that we did.
Yep.
And so,
Boom.
let's take a look at it. So Battle for Rokugan is a game for 2 to 5 people that takes place in the world of Rokugan, which is the land of Legend of the Five Rings. You're going to be playing as one of the 7 original clans in the game.
Crab, scorpion, lion, dragon. And then you've got the unicorn, you've got the phoenix. Crane. No,
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, I know, I was just stretching. So yeah, that's the 7 clans. On the board, you've got, let's move some of this stuff off.
My stuff.
And see if I can tilt this up
Oh,
a
dear.
little bit
Oh,
so,
dear.
so people can see.
You got the board.
You've got territories that are made up of a certain number of provinces. So you got 3 provinces in this territory. The crab have 4 provinces in their territory. You got an island of 3.
Which doesn't belong to anybody.
And so yeah, these aren't clans, but you've got all the other clans have a spot with a capital city. And down here at the bottom you have the Shadowlands, which is not a good spot if you're familiar with L5R at all. This spot doesn't give you any points towards winning the game, but it will give you some powerful abilities. So every player is going to start with a particular clan, and you're going to get your little screen that shows your clan.
I'm a phoenix.
I'm the unicorn.
Always.
And these bags don't come with the game. I bought some bags that came in a big set of a bunch of different colors, and so I kind of picked colors to match the different clans to hold the pieces.
Someone's a little obsessed with L5R if you haven't picked up on that already.
Yeah, that was kind of my entryway into board games. If you've seen our very first video, that was a little explanation of it. But in this bag, you're going to have a number of square tokens that basically have your clan's mon on it. So it shows the unicorn, teeny tiny, can't see it probably. And the other side has a +1 to defense and a +1 honor, which is points at the end of the game. And so you're going to sort all those out and keep them off to the side. And primarily what you're going to keep in your bag are these teardrop shapes that have your clan on one side, and then the other side has the orders that you're going to be doing in the game. And the way the game plays, you've got one of these teardrops that's blank on the inside, and this is your bluff token, and you're always going to have that available. You keep that behind your screen, and then you'll draw up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'll, at random, you'll draw at the beginning of the game 5 of these tokens out of your bag and put them face up behind your screen so nobody knows what you've got.
And that's your starting abilities.
Those are the actions that you have available. When you start the game, you're going to control your own capital. So I would have the unicorn capital. And then you go through and in turn order, you just start claiming a certain number of provinces. In a 3-player game, it was 7. I think it might be 11 in a 2-player game. It changes depending on the number of players. And so you're not limited to having to build out from your capital. You can scatter anywhere you want to go, and that just gives you like presence. That gives you presence in certain areas. Because what you're going to do when it's your turn, you're going to pick one of your 6 tokens and place it down on the board face down, following some particular rules. If it is an army and you're going to invade another province, it goes on the border line between the spot that you're attacking from, which has to be yours, into another spot that has to be empty or somebody else's. And so if you put your army token there, you're saying, I'm attacking into this province.
So I've got my capital, which is the Phoenix capital here. Norm is not in any territory adjacent to that, so he cannot attack me using his army because he is not adjacent to any of those territories or provinces.
And so I would place one down, and then the next player would place one of theirs face down. And so she could attack into an empty space.
Yep, so I can take my army, and this is an army 2, which means he's got an attack of 2. And I can just put it on the border into an empty province, and if there's no defense there, then I acquire that province. So then I would put my marker down into it for the next round, showing that I have that province as well.
If I had presence next to that, I could put my army marching in too, and then we would fight to see who gets it. But
and by fighting, it would be whoever had the highest army or attack into that area. So in this instance, if Norm is trying to attack into a province that I have, I can take, again, my army and point it towards the center of that province, showing that I'm defending it. So with that army tile, you can either attack into an adjacent land or you can defend your existing land that someone's attacking. You can even defend a land no one's attacking, because if you do that, you get a +1 defense and a +1 point. What was it? Honor?
Honor.
For the next round. So that's a way to acquire a few more points in defending an area that no one's attacking that you own.
Every time you successfully defend, you'll put one of your control tokens face up, showing that it gets an extra defense next time someone tries to fight it, and +1 points. Each province has a certain number of these flowers in it, and those are the points at the end of the game. Adding a defense token gives you 1 more point on top of that.
And if you're attacking into a capital city, they already, if you have, if you control that territory, it automatically gives you a +2 defense. So anyone trying to take over that province is already going to have to contend with a defense of 2 against them. So you got to keep that in mind as well.
Even if nobody poses any defense, it's got a 2. Even if nobody controls it, you'd have to have at least a 3 army attacking it to take it over, because defenders win ties.
Yep, defenders will always win ties.
Unless you're the Crane clan, because we haven't gone over that. Each clan's got their own special power. Well, we'll go over that in a little bit, but
in talking about these little actions that you can take, everyone starts off with the same common combat tokens. So for your army tokens, for an army level 1, you start off with 6 of them. For an army level 2, you have 4 of those tokens. An army level 3, you have 3 of those tokens. Army level 4, you have 2. And an army level 5, you have 1. So you can use those to either attack and acquire more provinces or as a defense to your area.
And each token can only be used once unless something lets you get them back.
Yep.
So like this is my army 3 that I have there. We'll do the attack after this round. That goes into a face-up discard pile that everyone can see. So people can pay attention to the discard pile and be like, okay, he's used an army 3. He's only got 2 more army 3s possible.
Yep, or he's already used his army 5, so if I really want to take over that land, I have my army 5, I know he can't defend it with a 5. So you can try to keep track of all of that. The next little teardrop are the navies. Do you have a navy? Oh, I have one here. So the navy has a ship on it. Everyone starts off with 2 Navy 1 tokens and 1 Navy 2 token. And a navy allows you to attack along a coastal line. So you don't have, it doesn't have to be adjacent to a province that you control. You can just put your navy token if you're attacking anywhere on the coast.
You got around the islands here, you got all up and down here, these coastal provinces that you can attack.
And you can still use it as a defense, but it has to be a defense of a coastal province. So if someone is if Norm were to try to attack me in the Crane capital, I can use my navy as a defense. So I would still put it in the middle of that province like you would if you were doing your army token. But you can use the navy as long as it's along the coast. Your next one is the Shinobi, and everyone has a Shinobi 1 and a Shinobi 2 token. And I'll let you talk about those.
It has a little ninja face on it.
Yeah, because I don't have one showing.
And you've only got a 1 and a 2, unless you've, I think it's the Scorpion who have actually a Shinobi 3, I think. We'll have to check. But the Shinobi can attack without adjacency.
Yeah. Place in the center of any province, no adjacency required to attack, or in the center of a province you control to defend. So it's kind of the same thing as your army, but it doesn't apply towards being adjacent.
And it has, it's got a lot more reach. And also, I didn't mention that if you put an army on a border, nobody else can put an army on that border. There's only one token per border. And so this could be a way that I could, if I didn't have another province adjacent to there, have this army attacking on the only province that I have adjacent, and put my Shinobi inside the province for an extra total.
And the Shinobi, again, goes into the center of that province. It doesn't go on a border. It doesn't go along the edges or the coast. It goes in the middle of that province.
They sneak in and attack.
Yep. And then the next one is the diplomacy. So do you have your diplomacy out?
I have a diplomacy here. It is just a little tea set, a little teapot.
And what you do with that is you place, and just so you know, the back of your little screen tells you everything. It's a beautiful little help guide. So you place in a province you control to remove all combat tokens and place a peace token. So you have these peace tokens off to the side. So if you put your diplomacy in there, once everything gets revealed, there's an order of how you resolve things. But regardless on how many people are attacking in there, how many people are defending in there, if you place your diplomacy, everything gets wiped out and it gets a peace token put there. And so from that moment on, nobody can attack in that region, nobody can defend in that region, nothing else happens there.
And you can't attack from it either.
So if you control that territory, you can't attack out of it. So that's just peaceful ground. Nobody can do anything from it or to it. Okay, so after the diplomacy is the raid token.
I've got a raid token.
Okay.
It's a kind of an Oni mask, a little demon mask.
You place in an opponent's adjacent province to remove all tokens and place a scorched earth token. Place with shinobis to ignore adjacency. So
here is a province that's adjacent to mine, that's owned by hers. If I put a raid token in there, when it's revealed,
and you only have one,
all tokens get removed,
and
it gets a scorched earth.
It is scorched. So
basically, that province does not exist anymore. There's that big hole here that you can't move into, you can't attack, can't take control of, so you have to go around it and things like that. Plus,
so if he was attacking it and I put a whole bunch of my defense in there, all of that would have been wasted as soon as it's revealed. So it negates anything else that's done in there.
If you built up a bunch of defensive tokens in there that give you a bunch of bonus points, plus makes it hard to crack, a raid token wipes all that out. Raid tokens are pretty strong.
Yep, so you want to be really careful in creating an Easter basket. Is that what you called it?
You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
So,
because the unicorn is going to stomp on that basket.
Any clan can stomp on the basket if they have a raid token.
The unicorns get 2.
We're not talking about that yet. You're jumping ahead.
2 raid tokens. It's a lot of basket
So you just want to be careful. If you know that they still have a raid token available, you want to be careful to not make one province look too appealing, because they can blow it all up, and
Ruin
you
your
lose
day.
everything. Ruin your day, indeed. And then the final tokens are blessing tokens. You get 2 blessing 2s. I don't have one out.
Let's see if I can.
Here is one. Got it. So your blessing just has a lotus flower on it. And you have 2 of them, both level 2s. And this adds to your attack or your defense. So you have your defense tiled, or his attack. Oh, no, that's a raid. We're not doing that one. So no, that's your, for heaven's sakes. Okay.
Raid on them.
So I have an army 3. So let's say I were to go into, try to get the dragon capital. Let's say I don't own the dragon capital. And so if I have a blessing token, I put that face up on top of another token that's down. And that basically adds 2 to whatever the value is. So once everything's revealed, it would show I was doing an attack 3 into there. That becomes an attack 5. So I can either defend or use it to add to attack. So it helps you either way.
And it's public information because you place, that's the one tile you put face up. So if you put it on an attacking unit, you're saying that's 2 stronger. You put it on a defensive unit, you're saying it's 2 stronger. It also protects that unit from card and clan effects. Mm-hmm. So anything that says target a token, which we'll go over in a little bit, that is now immune from that.
Yep. And you can put it on your shinobi tile as well, your little ninja tile. So it will work for that as well, whether you're using him as a defense or an attack.
Well, and this kind of goes into one of the neat things about this game. You could even put it on a raid token that you control, and that would make people think that it's an attack, but it then makes that placement of the raid token illegal, and the raid won't happen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so one of the cool things about this game is we talked about the different placement rules for these tokens. Armies either go inside defending or on a border attacking. Navy has to go on the coast or inside a province if you're defending. But you can place any of these tokens however you want on the board. And
it just may or may not be legal and do anything with it.
Just like your one bluff token.
Yeah, that's the one we didn't talk about. That's what I was looking for. We mentioned it, but we didn't say what
every turn you get one, and you get to place it out.
If you want.
Just like anything else. Because if you have 6 tokens, you're going to play 5 of them in a round. And so if you want to place your bluff token, just to kind of feel people out. Be like, oh, I'm attacking in here. And see if anyone freaks out and throws a defense in there. Because if they throw a defend in there, then you know, okay, my army can go here, and one of their defending tokens is gone. And so, but you can bluff with any other tokens. I could put a navy token inland here on a border like I'm attacking, and people might defend against it, but then when you flip it face up, it's like, okay, that's an illegal placement. It gets removed.
Yep.
And so
you have one actual bluff token, but you can use any of them as a bluff if you place them in an area that they can't, that they're not applicable to be placed in.
You know, anything like you've got 6 army 1s, which aren't very strong. Maybe you put that out in the middle of a province somewhere to make people think that, oh, hey, is that their raid token? Because at the start of the game, you're given 2 scout cards and 1 Shugenja card. And the scout cards, you can play at the start of your turn. You choose a combat token on the board belonging to an opponent. You look at that token without revealing it to other players. And so
I can be like, oh, he's raiding that. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it, but it's knowledge that I can use.
And so you've got 2 scout cards. When you use it, you turn it face down. You don't have access to that card again. You get 2 scout actions, 1 Shugenja action.
Here's a question. What if I put my diplomacy down in an area that you have your raid token down? What happens?
The order is raid first. Yep. Raid,
oh, that's dirty.
Raid and then diplomacy.
So there's nothing you can do to stop a raid, but you can stop a diplomacy.
Well, there is a way you can stop a raid, and that's with the Shigenja.
Well, yeah, but
Because the
what if you guess wrong?
Shigenjas are like scouts. Well, there's no limit to how many cards you could play.
That's right.
So you play your scout and you look and you're like, oh no, that's a raid. Then you can play your Shigenja card, which is basically a scout plus a little bit of magic. Because you choose a combat token on the board belonging to an opponent, reveal that token, and discard it. And so that can be huge.
So we played a game with my sister, and she played what I thought was a raid token in a province that I had, and I had some good points in there. So I used my, how do you pronounce that?
Shigenja.
I used my Shigenja card, and it was a raid, and discarded it, and she called me some pretty bad names. But
she used the Shigenja card on my bluff token, which was so nice.
She didn't think so, but it was quite unfortunate for her. But yep.
And so that gives you a little bit of knowledge when you're playing out. Also, since these games where you're placing these things down, the person who goes first kind of has a disadvantage. The first player gets a card,
and this one allows you choose one combat token on the board belonging to any player, and you can look at the token without revealing it to others, and you return it to the owner's token pool. So they don't lose it like the other card does, but it just removes it from that spot, gives it back to them, and then
it goes back behind their screen.
So they have an opportunity to use it again, and they may very well put it in the exact same spot, or they may not, but it gives you a little bit of knowledge to say, okay, he was putting an attack 2 in here. Maybe I need to go ahead and do some pretty strong defense there if I don't want to lose that province. So it helps you, get you a little bit of information, and it may persuade the other person not to put that token back there. They may decide to do something else with it.
And I just had a thought that I never...
Battery, please recharge.
Oh, our lightsaber just went out.
It went out. So something I didn't think about, Scout and Shigenja say opponents. First player says any player.
So you can take your own token back.
So you can take your own token back. So your first token could be a bluff. Be like, I'm attacking here, and then they're like, well, I'm going to defend, and then you're like, okay, I'm picking this up. I'm not attacking there. So
that's clever.
That might change future games
if we keep it.
So if we keep it.
So since we've been talking about tokens, we can probably go ahead and go into the specialties of each clan, because they get an addition. Every clan gets an additional token of some sort.
An additional token and a special power.
Yep. So for the Phoenix clan, their additional token is they get a blessing 3. So everybody gets 2 blessing 2 tokens, but the Phoenix will get a blessing 3. So that'll make your defense or attack even more powerful. And then their special ability is you ignore clan capital defenses when attacking. So I can attack any capital, and that +2 defense doesn't apply anymore. So that gives me the advantage for attacking capitals. They're treated like any other province. So that's the Phoenix.
So like I mentioned earlier, the Unicorn special
is gross.
Token is a raid token. So they have 2 raids. They can nuke two provinces.
And the first time we played, he knew that I didn't know the game well, and he took advantage of my naivety.
There were so many eggs in a basket.
I had a lot of eggs in a basket because he had already used a raid token, and I was like, haha, he doesn't have another raid token, so I can go ahead and stock this up, and I can defend it, and then as soon as I get my diplomacy, I'm gonna bless that spot, and he can't touch it. Well, he was like, don't forget my special ability. And I said, what special ability? And he's like, I get another raid token, which the way he said it was this arrogant ass kind of way, which means he had it in his hand already. And sure enough, his next turn, boom, he drops it right in the middle. Now that was
smashed
some,
all the eggs.
That was some crap, if I'm going to be honest. Like someone who never played the game, and Mr. L5R Pro here was like, haha, she's an idiot, I'm blowing up her land. And he did. It didn't matter that I was his wife.
So the Unicorn Clan special ability is one that I never used a lot.
Yeah.
Before combat tokens are revealed, you can switch the positions of 2 of your tokens, which makes sense with the cavalry. You got that fluidity in the movement and stuff, but I never remembered to do it, and most of the time I'm placing out the tokens where I wanted. I never really gave any thought to, it'd be interesting to use the scout to then be like, okay, she's defending with a 2. I don't need to have my 5 there. Let's move my 5 over here where I don't know what's going on, and put the, and do stuff like that. And so I can see how this could be really strong.
It's gross. So the Crane clan, their extra combat token is an extra diplomacy. So they can have another blessing out there. Or not blessing, but another, what is this called?
It's a peace
token. They get an additional opportunity for that. And then when you're tied, you win. So the Crane clan, it's always, the rule is defending always wins ties, unless you're the Crane. And then you win if you tie. So the Dragon clan, who's up here in the corner, their extra token is a blessing 3, so same thing as the Phoenix clan. And then when their ability, when you draw combat tokens, draw 1 additional token, then return 1 non-bluff combat to your pool. So basically where everyone draws 6, you draw 7, but at the end you have to put 1 back in. So you get an extra decision of what extra good token you want to keep. The Scorpion clan, their combat token is a Shinobi 3, so they get the ninja at a level 3, and then once per round after you place a combat token, you may choose 1 combat token on the board and look at it. So even in opponents, you can look at it. You can't take it away, you can't do anything with it, but you can look at it. So for strategic purposes, that might be helpful. The Crab clan gets a Navy 3, so nobody has a Navy 3 unless you're a crab. And then your face-up control tokens have a value of +2 defense. So all of our little tokens just give you a +1 defense when you flip them. The crab gives you a +2. And then the lion token, you get an army 6. So that's pretty strong. And then your bluff token has a value of +2 defense and is not discarded when other bluff tokens are placed. So if I put a bluff out, if I'm using it as a defense, it's a +2 instead of a bluff. So that gives you a bit of help in your defense as a lion. And just so you know, you do not use all of your tokens in a game. So you may never get that Army 6. You may not get that extra raid token. So you may not always get the bonus that your clan gets, that extra token. So you have to remember that too strategically as you're playing your game.
Something that triggered in my head as she was reading there. You talked about something about the pool. Yeah. Return 1 non-bluff token to your token pool.
Oh, we had her put it back in her basket.
Well, no. I mean, I'm looking at this, and when you draw combat tokens, you draw combat tokens from your combat token pools and place them behind your screens. The 6 face-up tokens are the player's hand. So that changes the first player card.
Oh my goodness. So the first player card, choose 1 combat token on the board belonging to any player. Look at that token without revealing it to the other players. Then return the token to its owner's token pool.
So it doesn't go behind the screen.
So it's the same, almost the same as the Shigenja, but it's not discarded it forever. It just goes. We've been playing this game wrong the whole time. So every game that he's won has now been voided. I like this.
So that's interesting. So you are reducing their tokens on the board, but it is a token that they could possibly get back. So
yeah, but they don't get that extra turn at the end.
Yeah, they don't, and so yeah.
Interesting.
So there's no reason for you to play it on yourself, unless maybe it's like, oh, I just looked at that. I'm about to lose that battle horribly.
Yeah.
Let's take that good army and throw it back into my.
Maybe I'll get him again. So that is very interesting. We've been playing it wrong.
So yeah,
good catch.
I thought that the pool was the pool of actions that you had, but your token pool is what you got in your bag.
Interesting. Okay, so that's That's the specialty and the extra tokens that everyone gets.
So after everyone has placed out all of their tokens, you'll have one token left behind, which you'll carry over to the next round. If it's not your bluff token, then at the start of the next round, you'll take your bluff token back. So you have 2 back here, and you'll draw back up to 6. So you only draw 4 in that case. But after everyone's placed out their 5, you flip over all of the tokens.
You reveal them all. And then there's an order as to the resolutions.
There's an order of what you do.
We don't have enough out there to really worry.
Any bluff tokens would get removed.
So in this instance, he puts a raid token on a border.
And
so
then any illegally placed.
That's illegally placed. So that would go away.
That would go away. If I had a bluff token and attacking it, that would go away. And then you would resolve your raid tokens first. So any raid token that was in a province, that's gonna go off, and it's gonna scorch it. Any tokens that were defending, attacking, any control markers, everything involving that is immediately discarded.
And gone. Yep.
Then you do your diplomacy to put down your peacefuls. So hopefully
your peacefuls.
Hopefully
you put down your peacefuls.
Hopefully your peaceful didn't get scorched beforehand.
No.
And then you're going to resolve battles, which basically, if you're attacking a spot that isn't defended, you just immediately take it over.
So in this instance, he has his shinobi, his ninja attacking, or no, you actually have that in there as a defense. Oh no, he does go in the middle. Sorry. Yep. So he has his shinobi, his ninja attacking for a 2. I have my army defending at a 2. Since I have control of this province, we tied. The defender always wins ties.
So my token goes
unless
away.
You're the crane.
And she gets to put.
And then I get to put a +1 defense down in there, which also accounts for an additional honor at the end of the game. So everyone picks up their tokens, and I now have an extra defense in that area.
And so, like in this case, I was attacking there. She didn't have a defense, so she would lose hers.
I lose control of that spot, and he gets it. Here, I did an attack 3 into a province that nobody had, but it was a capital city, so they automatically have a 2 defense. But I attacked with a 3. Now, for a Phoenix clan, that +2 defense doesn't apply. So I won, so I now have control of that territory. And that's how you basically gain or lose control of the areas on the board.
So once all the battles have been resolved, you then check to see, does anybody control a territory? If you control every province in a territory, then every location, Unicorn Lands, Lion Lands, Dragon on down, have a card that's associated with it.
And it even applies towards the areas that don't have a clan. So there's like the island here.
The island has its own card. The mountainous, I don't know what that is. It looks like maybe just coastal areas.
Yeah.
It's got some waves. They have their own card. And each of the Shadowlands provinces, there's an upper and a lower. They each have a card. It's only one province to control that. If you're in here, you get the lower card. If you're in here, you get the upper card. And those get face down in front of you for use in the next turn.
So in this example, I have control of the Dragon Clan, so I would take this card. It would go face down.
And there's only one card for each territory. There are 2 in the game. There's 2 cards of each clan and territory, and you'll randomly pick one of them. So if you play long enough, you'll know what your 2 options are, but you won't know which one is in the game until you take it.
And once you use it, it's gone.
It's gone.
So if at any time I have not used the dragon card that I acquired, and Norm ends up taking over control of the entire region for the dragon, he would automatically take this card from me. And then he could use it if he chose.
If I take just 1 away from her and she hasn't used it, it'll go back over here until somebody takes it over.
You want to be strategic because they are beneficial. So you want to use it, but sometimes it's just not beneficial to use it in that moment. So you got to weigh that out.
Yeah, so you got this decision of, I think this would be more useful later, but I might not have it later.
So I may want to save it, but I sure need to defend the heck out of this area so
it
that
might be
no
like-
one takes it from me.
Maybe I play it so when somebody takes it over, they don't use it on me.
Yeah.
There's that kind of thing. Yeah, because each of these cards, you use it once and it's gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't go back here after it's done. It's just gone.
And you can only use it at a particular time.
Yeah, at the beginning of the next turn, you determine first player. You have a stack of cards here that either has a clan mon telling you whose turn it is, or in fewer than 5-player games, there's going to be a certain number of these that just say, maybe person with the most provinces.
Yeah, it's just a random requirement. So whoever meets that requirement would be the first player.
And then you'll draw back up to your 6 tokens back here. And then everybody in turn order has an opportunity to play territory cards if they want. And
you can play as many as you want, but I would play one and then someone else would, and then when it would come back to me, if I had another one, I could play another one.
And so you keep going around until everyone passes, and then
So as an example, this particular one for the Dragon Clan is Strength of Purpose. So it's choose 2 different provinces you control and add 1 of your control tokens face up to each of those. So I own 2 provinces here, so I would just take my little control marker and flip it over to give that area a +1 defense and an extra honor, which is an extra point at the end of the game. So, but again, that's as soon as someone takes over that territory, if they defeat me and I lose control of that area, that defense and that additional honor go away. So again, you don't want to put too many eggs in one basket to make it appealing for someone else to take it away. So if I use that, that's now discarded. No one else can use it in the game.
Now if I take over all the Dragonlands, I won't get a card.
Aha!
And so you play over 5 rounds, and then you do your end game scoring. You count up the flowers in all of the places that you control, plus you'll have a secret objective that you're dealt 2 of at the beginning of the game, and you'll pick one.
Mine was the Den of Secrets. At the end of the game, if you control either the Scorpion capital or 2 provinces in the Scorpion territory, you earn 7 points. So if I just have that capital, then I get 7 points. If I don't have that, then I need to have 2 of the other provinces of theirs in order to get those 7 points.
And there's one for each of these for 7 points.
Yeah, and then there's other cards as well.
Yeah, like this one, the Way of the Sail. At the end of the game, if you control 6 coastal provinces, you earn 10 honor. And so,
but that's challenging. That can be difficult.
And so you add up all the flowers and places that you control. You do your bonus, and then for every territory that you control, you get 5 bonus points. So it's one thing to own a lot of territories out there, but you get a good chunk of points if you can control the whole territory as well. And that's the game. Some of these cards from the different clans will place out certain special tokens that are all described in here that might change the honor value of a province to 4, or it might add 1 to the province. It might make it so this one's called the battlefield. If something's the battlefield, it can't be raided and it can't be diplomatified.
It can't be peacified.
It can't be peacified. And so it's like this place is a battlefield. It's always going to be fought over. And so there's ones like that you can put out. You can put out a harbor token, which makes a landlocked area a harbor, so your navy can attack it. And so these tokens become available from a lot of these clan cards that
and
you end up
if the
getting.
clan card you used allows you to place the harbor token, again making an inland area accessible to your navy, that's applicable for everybody. It's not just you, whoever placed that tile down. Everyone can now use their navy in that
so
area.
they can attack even if they're not adjacent because it's considered a coastal.
And then whoever has the most points at the end wins.
Most honor wins.
That's right. This game is about honor.
So if you're familiar with L5R, then you understand the whole honor thing.
I've never played L5R.
So that was one of the win conditions in the card game. You could either win militarily or by honor.
And you won competitions of that, didn't you? Of that game. You went to tournaments.
Yep. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Went to Gen Con some. Didn't win any tournaments.
He's never taken me to Gen Con.
Yeah, I really liked the game.
I just want to go to Gen Con.
Wasn't so keen on what Fantasy Flight did with it when they took it over, but that was mainly because card games like that are kind of a lifestyle game where you spend your whole time learning the cards and learning how to play and stuff. And
then he got married.
I just didn't have the time to spend so much time on one game when I have all these games
and a wife and kids
to spend time, and some other people living in the house that demand attention. So I didn't quite get into the Fantasy Flight version of the card game, but
okay. So tell us about your likes and dislikes.
I really like that I can place any tile however I want.
Agreed.
It's like, it's like, oh, what's the rule for putting this down? Doesn't matter.
I can put it wherever I want.
I can put it wherever I want. It might not be effective where
I may not do anything, but I'm putting it right there.
But yeah, if I've got, like, there's times where your token's the one army, and it's like, I own everything I want. I could try to invade there, but it's got extra defense and stuff. So, you know what? This one army, it's going to be a bluff. It's like, oh, yeah, this place, I'm raiding it.
And then people may be like, oh no, I've got to defend, and they use the Shigenja
to get rid of an illegally placed token. And it's like,
I really like that. You're bluffing and somebody thinks that you're attacking them and they're going to put a lot of defense into it to protect it because they need that spot, and it's a bluff. So that's depends on what side of the spectrum you're on that one. It's either really satisfying or annoying as hell. So
I also like the fact that you've got these cards that you get for owning a territory, and it's only a one-time use. It's not every round people are playing out these wild, crazy cards that change everything. It's just a little tiny thing that just mucks things up a little bit, and then it's gone. And it doesn't... Once the dragon does their little strange shenanigans, they're not going to do it again. And so a lot of this game is the other players are what makes the game, because you don't know what they're doing and what their plans are. I like that.
All right, what don't you like? Or do you have more likes?
I think it's a minor dislike. I don't like that you don't get every token in here. At the end of the game, depending on how many times you played your bluff token, you're going to have 4 or so of these tokens stuck in here. And so, like the Unicorn Clan has 2 raid tokens. My special tokens are an extra raid. There's a possibility both my raids end up in the bottom of the bag, and I've never seen them.
That's frustrating.
I've seen some variants online where people have talked about, like, if you took out one of your army ones, so you'd only have 5 of those, and then you just always drew 5 out of the bag and put them back here, regardless of how many were back here, you'd get to see everything in your bag once.
We're not really big on house rules.
I don't know how you would keep track of how many tokens you've put out, because like the first player token lets you take one off and put it back into your pool. It's a lot easier to be like, okay, I've got 1 left behind my screen. That means I'm done putting them out, and so that could mess it up. But I do like the idea of if I have a special token, I want to see that special token. The Lion have the army 6, I think is what you said.
Mm-hmm.
If they never draw the army 6, then it's just like every other client.
Yeah, we played a game where I was the Lion and I never drew that army 6, so it was frustrating. You have this great ability that you can do something great with, but I never saw it.
So that's a slight dislike, because I mean, it adds in just that little bit of random where you never quite know what abilities are going to be available to you at any time, which is nice. But to have your special ability just never show up when it's like that's what makes me special, it's that can be a little bit of a pain.
Mm-hmm.
Now it might be one of those things where it's like maybe you start with your special token back here at the start of the game.
Yeah, have the advantage of using it.
And then it's up to you whether or not you want to play out the bluff token, so you're carrying that one over from round to round until it's really necessary, or do you use it turn one and just lose
using it turn one, I think, would be a waste.
So, depending on what other people are doing, having that attack 6 could just be like, I'm taking this.
But then you got to spend 4 more rounds defending it. So
yes, I mean that's a tiny dislike. Another possible dislike. It feels like it would be better the more people. It plays up to 5. I think Board Game Geek says that it's recommended best at 4. It actually says that it's not recommended at 2. But that just means that more people have voted it not recommended at 2. So it's like 30 some people said not recommended at 2, 20 some said that it's good at 2, and very few said it was best at 2, which I could believe. I don't think it's best at 2.
We've played it at 2 and 3.
I played it at 2 and 3.
I enjoyed 3 more than I did 2.
I think 4.
4 would be a good.
I think 4 and 5 would be really interesting.
Yeah.
5 might be too much, but it would feel, I don't know, it'd feel more L5R-ish. It would feel, more clans fighting amongst themselves, and so I'd like to see what that's like, but it's hard to get 5 people together to agree to play a game, especially one that's so in your face like this. There's no, I'm going to play my game over here, you're going to play your game over there.
And I would say the more people you have playing it, the longer the game will take, for sure.
What about you, likes and dislikes?
I like the same thing you did as far as being able to play any token anywhere. I'm interested to play this game again, playing the first player ability the correct way, because I think that will really change. A lot of times we didn't even use this. It'll be interesting to play that again now, having them lose that back into their pool, but losing it for that round. So I'm looking forward to trying it that way. I like being able to use any token for any reason. One slight dislike that I have is no one seems to want to take the Shadowlands. I mean, that's at least in the plays that we've done.
That was something that I really wish that I did in the game that we played, the 3-player, because I was playing the crab, so I was right next to it. Because these Shadowlands cards are different from the territory cards in that you don't play them when the territory cards get played. They'll say, play this card at the start of your turn, and this one's, I think they're all play at the start of your turn. And they can do something pretty strong.
But you have to take a hit as well.
So, yeah, so like this one here says Purge the Weak. You discard one of the combat tokens from behind your screen. You'll not place a combat token this turn. But you choose 2 combat tokens on the board, reveal and discard both of them.
Ouch.
So you're not placing something out, but you're like, that you're not doing, and that you're not doing. So
you're basically forfeiting a turn to get rid of 2 tokens. So that's incredibly strong. To me, that's worth it, because you're not really hurting yourself.
Yeah, here's Animate the Dead. You play at the start of your turn. You remove one of your control tokens from a non-Shadowlands province. So it's like, I don't control this province anymore. Then, choose 1 combat token in your discard pile and place it face up on the board following all normal combat rules, and then place a combat token from your hand as usual. So you're like, I don't have this province anymore, but I've got this Army 3 that I'm putting here, and then I'm going to play this Army 2 attacking from in here, but that one would be face down, so you wouldn't know. And so it gets you like an extra placement that turn at the cost of losing losing a province. I think that we've been underestimating the power of these.
I think so too. I mean, it's just in every game we've played, no one's really focused on the Shadowlands, and it's there for a reason. So
it doesn't give you any points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like it's like, do I want to just move in there? Maybe that's what the army ones are for. It's like, I'm just going to move in there, but they have a defensive one, so you got to use an army 2 at least to go in there. And it's like, would I rather do that when there's this wide open province here that's worth 3 points at the end of the game that no one is in? Maybe I move in there and take that instead for the 3 points, when maybe the right play is get your hands a little dirty.
Another small, minor dislike that I have of this game is some of these tokens are really hard to see on the board. So even at the end, when everyone's placed all of their tokens face down, and we're like, all right, let's reveal everything, it takes a little bit of time to make sure you have found them all to reveal them.
Yeah, and then when you're resolving everything, it's like,
did I miss
did we do all the battles? Because all the cardboard just kind of like blends together.
Especially if you're a unicorn and you're placing within your unicorn clan, because that's already tinted purple. You know, all of the clans are tinted the color of their clan. So with being the Phoenix, I mean, it's such a light orangish yellow that it's hard to see on the board sometimes. So even when you have your +1 defense and your extra honor showing, I mean, you're really having to focus on the board. And you know, if you've got bad eyesight, or the lighting can sometimes impact that as well. So again, it's a very minor dislike, but it can get a little frustrating sometimes to lose sight of even in your placement, you may lose sight of where you have control, and that can mess up how you're placing.
Yeah, and it's really not something that you could fix easily, because you've got the double-sided tokens. You got these double-sided. I mean, you could have a control token be a flag, and a defense be another thing that comes out, just so you got some little plastic bits and the cardboard bits to tell things apart.
But then
you're adding more components.
Yeah,
it's more expensive.
So it would be interesting. I would be interested to play this at 4 or even 5, to give it a shot at 5, because that would be quite interesting. It would really be an area control battle. Because again, sometimes in your play with just 2 players, it's a big board. So if our original placements, if I'm focusing on one area and he's focusing on another, there may not always be a lot of interaction between the two. We may not clash very often. So I would like to play it at a higher player count, just to see that true war aspect come into it and area control.
It's not an issue yet, but like I said, there's 2 of every card.
Yeah, getting some more of those would be good.
That would be for replayability, which I guess goes into another sort of dislike. This game's not in print. It's not available now. I was able to find a copy at the used bookstore and grabbed it. So the fact that it's not in print, you're not going to be getting any expansions for it. You're not going to get different clans that you could add in.
Is this the only board game for the L5R world?
They've got one that just came out that I'm interested in. It's like River of Gold, I think, but it's very loosely. It didn't have to be an L5R game.
Okay.
They came out with a thing, I think it was called War of Honor, that kind of gave a game board to the card game. You'd play the card game and it would affect things on the board.
Norm told me the lore of it and the history of it, and I really, really like it.
It's such a cool setting.
Yeah, so I wish there was more. I'm not a card game person, so I mean, I'll play card games, but not the lifestyle kind of card games. I'm not into Magic. I'm not into L5R, any of those type things. Netrunner, I think, is another card game that Norm played at one point. That's just, I have no interest in that. But I really like this setting, this world, and I would like to know more of it. And just knowing how much he loves Rokugan and the L5R history.
It would be so cool to have a board game that felt more like L5R, the card game, in some way. I don't know how you would do it.
Any designers out there?
But Legend of the Five Rings is the one card game I played that the way that the clans were made and the game was played, and for the tournaments, the clans that won the tournaments would affect the story going forward. You got clan loyalty. Like, if she was playing, she's like, I'm a Phoenix player. I don't care if Phoenix are good or bad in this set rotation. I'm playing Phoenix. I'm going to try to win for Phoenix because I'm a Phoenix. Same thing with me with Unicorn. When I read about the Legend of the Five Rings card game and was interested in playing it, I remember going online to some message group and being like, hey, is this any good? And somebody was like, hey, give me your address. I'll send you a bunch of extra commons and stuff that I have, a bunch of extra cards, so you can try it out. And it just ended up that I guess the guy wasn't a Unicorn player, because there were cards for every clan, but a whole bunch of Unicorn cards. And so I was like, oh, since there's a lot of Unicorn cards, I'm going to make the Unicorn deck. And found a group nearby that played L5R and showed up and became friends with them playing L5R. And it kind of felt kind of neat because the Unicorns are kind of the outsiders that like came in, which kind of fit me coming into the L5R scene, and also being a Canadian moving down to the United States. It was like, yeah, Unicorn's who I am. I'm Unicorn. So
but knowing what I know about the clans, I would have drifted more towards the Unicorn clan, but I mean, he took it. So he's always been
Dibs.
Unicorn. So yeah, he's got dibs on it. But knowing a little bit about them, Phoenix is where I felt like, okay, that could be more me, the magic, doing stuff like that. I was like, okay, I can. But Phoenixes are cool. I'm a Harry Potter fan, so Phoenix, okay, whatever. But yeah, I would like more games that bring in the L5R world. And so I would like to get more engrossed in it because it seems really interesting. I'm not interested in the card game.
I don't know what kind of game you could do that would give each clan their own feel. Like the Unicorn having an extra raid and being able to swap tokens, that's thematic, but it doesn't necessarily make me feel like I'm playing the Unicorn clan. The Crab have like they're more into strength because they're on the border next to the Shadowlands, and so their thing is to defend Rokugan from the Shadowlands, and you don't feel that in this game. There's no threat from the Shadowlands coming.
So shall we give it some ratings?
Yep. So
ratings.
We do a 0 to 7 for the game design, how it plays, basically everything except for the emotional stuff. So
how it plays, I'm gonna give it a solid 6. Components, again, just the only reason I'm knocking it is because sometimes some of the components get lost on the board. But the placement, how each one works, it's a very straightforward game. Solid 6.
I think I would give it the 7 out of 7. I think it works really well for. It does everything well. I don't know what I would change to make it play better for what it is.
All right, 6 and 7.
What little complaints I have aren't enough to bump down the gameplay. So then we got the 0 to 3 wow factor to bring it up to the 10-point scale.
One. And that seems kind of harsh. I'm not an area control kind of person. It's not my game. It's not my jam. I don't mind this game. If Norm wants to play it, I'll play it. Again, I would like to try it at more player counts, so I would like to see what it's like at 4 or 5. I'm probably not going to suggest this game unless we are in a larger group that I can say, okay, let's see what it's like at 4 or 5 players. So I would give it a 1. I don't want to knock the game. It's a good game. It's just it's not my cup of tea.
Well, that's a 7 total, which
Yep.
is still
Yep.
respectable. It hurts, but I'm going to give it a 1 as well. but that's primarily because me and Lisa will play games together, and this is playable at 2, and it doesn't do bad, but there are other games I'd rather play at 2, and I also think that most of the time if I'm playing with just her,
Just her?
if I'm playing with only her, I don't know what word am I supposed to use?
If I'm playing with just her, I mean,
So
if I have to play with just her.
If it's just the two of us, these
Just the two.
these battle type things like this is not what I'm going to gravitate towards first.
Yeah.
Because
It was fun playing with my sister, that third player, because two of us would be attacking it. Like, she and I would potentially attack an area he's defending. Or her and Norm would attack an area that I had. So it was, you have two people coming at you, which is fun.
If someone uses the Shigenja to get rid of your trick play, that's like, oh, I hate that you did that. It feels totally different than when it's you and your opponent does that to you, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because
right,
who else are they going to do it to? Yeah.
It's like, all right, yeah, that was what I was going to do, and now it's gone. Oh, well, I guess I'll lose this one, kind of a thing. So, yeah, I think when it's just us playing each other, we're less likely to play the games where we're punching each other in the face, and more like, I'm going to work on my puzzle and try to do better than you.
I'm not a big take that game player. I don't like it. To me, it's just not enjoyable. If there's multiple people playing, then yes, leave that in. But if it's just the two of us playing, I'm not a huge take that. It just takes the fun out of it.
And so that's the only reason I don't give it a 2. If we played with more people, I could see me wanting to play this more.
All right, so 7 and 8 scoring,
7 and 8.
which aren't bad.
That's
aren't
good.
bad at all.
That's a good game.
So let's bring the hard question out.
All right, are we keeping it?
Are we keeping it?
Who's going first?
I would say since it's out of print, and he's such an L5R fan. Yes, I say we keep it until we find, or until something L5R is created that can replace this.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm keeping it. It's a
Regardless of what I say.
it's a small box. You know, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. This is like a war game that we could take in the trailer if we had multiple people.
Yeah.
And play this instead of bringing out a big dudes on the map game.
Yeah, this does not take a big amount of space.
A lot of space, and it's L5R, which has a soft spot in my heart, and it's out of print. Yeah, I think it's staying. It's one of those that even if it doesn't get brought out all that often, it's one that I'm going to be happy to have on the shelf.
And there you have it.
So we'll see if that changes in the future. So that's Battle for Rokugan. What do you guys think? Have you gotten it while it was still available? Have you been able to find a copy?
So let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are. So and we gotta find another game.
Oh yeah, we gotta do another random, don't we?
We gotta pick another game.
Let's see. I got this over here. Let's see. I think I got it set up.
Have you added the new games you've gotten? He's gotten a million games, as you've seen from his thrift store finds.
Been practicing shelf control.
We have no shelf control. We have no shelves to even have control over. But we are making progress in our renovations, so that's good. All right, let's get collection and roll.
What's it say? Teotihuacan, City of Gods. So
we just did our unboxing last month.
Yep, that's the Kickstarter that just showed up. We've played it a few times.
Yep, we've played it at 4-player count. We've only done 4-player
only done 4.
count.
So we're gonna try it at other player counts.
We'll do it at 2. We'll try it at 3. What does it play up to?
It came with the 5-player expansion,
Okay.
so it can go up to 5. So we'll see, and it can be played solo. So
All right, so Norm will have to get a solo play in. We'll have to get a double play in, and then next time my sister comes, we'll get a 3 count in.
Man, so what's
Look, we've already got our hardest player count. That's the only one we've gotten in.
So
That game's upstairs. We don't have that one to show you.
So this will be a good one. This might be a good one for the YouTube algorithm because it's a newer release with the deluxe edition, and those seem to do good. Games like this don't seem to do very well with the algorithm, but I mean, nobody talks about these old games, so we thought we'll be the ones to talk about it.
Our screen's going dark.
We're losing battery.
So we might be about to die, so we're going to call an end to this. So
Thank you for your time.
And following along, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye. It went dark, Norm.
Why did it go dark?
I don't know. Is your battery dead?